Another shocking case of juvenile sexual assault.
IPD detectives arrest a 12-year-old boy. The story coming up on Nightcast.
It will show you just how emotional a visit to the AIDS memorial quilt can be.
And another driver hits the wall at the track. Brian Hammons tells you about the most serious injury yet this year.
All next on Nightcast.
You're watching WXIN TV, Indianapolis. Now, live from Fox WXIN 59, this is Indiana's most complete primetime news. Fox 59 Nightcast.
Handcuffs on the wrists of a 12-year-old boy accused of sexual assault. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Donaldson.
And I'm Caroline Thau. The alleged victim is a 7-year-old girl. Nightcast Mike Sackstetter is in our newsroom with the rest of the story. Mike, this is not the first case like this we've heard of recently.
You're right, Caroline. There have been several of these in recent weeks. In this case, police believe that the 12-year-old assaulted the girl under a porch behind a 38th Street apartment building. They aren't sure whether the girl was actually raped or molested, although the girl says she and the suspect did have intercourse. This makes at least 4 such juvenile sexual assaults IPD has investigated recently.
I don't know. I hope it's no trend, but it seems like it is. It's, you know, there's many theories as why. I mean, you can see it on TV, violence every day, so I don't know. The awareness at school, what's going on, I don't know. I hope it don't continue, but it seems like it is, and it's going to be a long summer if that's the case.
The 12-year-old suspect faces preliminary charges of rape and confinement. Like another recent juvenile rape suspect, police say this one also was on some form of home detention. Caroline?
Mike, were there any witnesses to the alleged incident?
Yeah, police say that there were several children playing in the backyard and that this happened, they believe, in front of the 7-year-old girl's 6-year-old brother.
Shocking story. Mike, keep us posted. That was Mike Sackstetter reporting from our newsroom. Bob?
2 7-year-old boys accused of raping a 6-year-old girl will go to trial June 30th. Judge James Payne says the boys and their parents showed up for a pretrial hearing today. Both boys are expected to undergo psychological evaluations before the trial. Police are questioning an Ohio woman in connection with a fatal car accident. A 12-year-old boy walking down Washington Street was run over. He died at the scene. Police say the driver lost control of her car, went over the curb, and hit the boy. No word if any charges will be filed at this time.
Police say a man responsible for a robbery homicide at an Indianapolis shoe store may have done the same in Missouri. Missouri police say a man entered a boot store in St. Charles, Missouri, near St. Louis, shot and killed a young female clerk and walked away with some money. Police believe the same man robbed this Payless shoe store on Pendleton Pike and killed the store's clerk.
In both robberies, there was only currency taken from the cash drawers. The victims are both white females working in these stores alone.
Police are looking for this man in connection with the killings, a white male in his mid-20s, probably a drifter. Police were investigating a link to a similar crime in Wichita, Kansas, but now say any connection is unlikely.
Police have also identified a body found 3 years ago in Ohio as an Indianapolis native. The body of 28-year-old John Paul Talbot was found in a road ditch near Farmer, Ohio. They say Talbot's death is similar to a series of murders of gay men in the Indianapolis area. IPD says Talbot was last seen at a North Side gay bar.
An emotional time tonight for the survivors of those who died of AIDS. The Names Project AIDS Memorial Quilt is in Indianapolis this week, bringing smiles and tears to those who put their love into the quilt panels. John Huck was there.
Kenneth R. Albers. They are monuments to lives lost and love gone. More than 1,600 panels, each with its own story, like the one Steve Chesterton tells, why he wrote, "Thus one goes to the stars" on his friend's panel.
That's just sort of my way of saying that he's still out there somewhere. It wasn't anything that David ever said, but it's something that I always think about when I think of people passing on.
People jumped to their feet with a standing ovation for Jeannie White. Ryan's mother spoke of the profound pain felt by mothers who've lost their kids to AIDS. Mothers like Dolores Horgan, who lost her son right around Mother's Day last year.
I know many mothers who are hurting. And this is an extremely bad Mother's Day. Last year was one too, because he died the Thursday before Mother's Day. So it's kind of like, I really don't care much for Mother's Day right now.
As the Indianapolis men's chorus sang, "I'll Be Seeing You," volunteers unfolded the panels, and emotions were very hard to keep in check.
When you leave here tonight, how will you feel?
Real empty, but like they said in the opening ceremony, a renewal, a little bit energized and ready to go on, fight it a little harder.
And what a fight it must be for people like Mark McCarty, overwhelmed by one family's loss.
It's just terrible. This fella, you get to really experience his life by reading this, and it's, you see everyone who loves him, and they miss him. It's terrible. I don't even know him, but I feel for him.
John Huck, Fox 59 Nightcast.
Closing ceremonies are Sunday, May 10th.
Checking out the news tonight. 10 students have been arrested for fights at Warren Central High School. The arrests stem from 2 separate fights that school administrators believe are related. The school principal says it's not clear what started those fights.
We can't really tell what motivated the fight. We seem to think at this point this was something that had to do with something that's outside of school. But we don't know if it was a racial situation. That's what it could have been. We hope it isn't. But then rumors start. And then when the rumors start, that's when it's really tough because it spreads to other kids.
Brist also says fighting in school will not be tolerated. He says students who fight will be arrested.
It has been a year and a half since an explosion rocked Fort Benjamin Harrison, killing a 5-year-old girl. Today, her parents, Adolfo and Tracy Encarnacion, filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Army. 5-year-old Janae was killed in a 1990 gas explosion at Fort Benjamin Harrison. Lawyers for the family say the suit is not just against the Army.
There were uncapped gas lines left in place. A valve was turned on December 9, 1990, resulting in an explosion. It's not a simple matter of, well, it was the Army's fault. We believe there are more parties involved. There was a scenario of events that led up to this tragic incident.
Encarnacion is still stationed at Fort Ben and plans to continue his career with the Army. McGuire says the suit does not seek a specific amount in damages.
In business tonight, the high cost of Indy car racing. Another car hit the wall today. Brian Hammons has the latest on Nelson Piquet's condition in sports. This week's crashes prove there's a price for going so fast. It's been a destructive and expensive week of practice. No loss of life, but plenty of losses for the car owners. Technology and competition have pushed the cost of racing up at a rate almost as fast as the cars themselves. Just the chassis of an Indy car will cost you $380,000. The dashboard goes for $36,000, $50,000 for the computer software, and $130,000 to lease just one engine.
As soon as a team has an extra $1 million to work with, they're developing new uprights and their new pickup points and maybe something in the gearbox and something else. And then next year's car has to have all those things incorporated in it, and up go the prices. So we ourselves drive the prices up in our industry.
Dick Simon raced 20 years ago when a car cost $30,000. Now, that's less than the average salary for one of his 63 crew members.
It's almost like going from a twin Cessna to an extremely streamlined Learjet. You know, that's the differences. So, in reality, the car itself has improved by the amount of money.
Not all the race teams can bear the high cost of modern Indy car racing so easily. Some teams, especially the newer ones, have to keep a much closer eye on the bottom line. Derek Walker's team will make a small profit this year, but most of that money goes back into the car. He admits it's hard to keep up with the costs.
Technological advancement costs money, and for race teams such as our size, just keeping up with that required amount of technology is very expensive. It's very difficult to find those dollars.
One of the best ways to defray the cost of the car is to collect $1 million+ for winning, but of course that's also the hardest way to make the race profitable.
Wow, I guess no minor fender benders for those guys.
No, absolutely not. Sure was a beautiful day for racing today. I know a lot of people are going to be going out to the track tomorrow. Meteorologist Chris Wright has more on that and the weather tonight. Evening, Chris.
Well, Caroline and Bob, we won't see it as cool tonight as we did last night. Right now, temperatures are in the 50s, 52 at Lafayette and at Bloomington, 55 here in the Circle City. Sunny and in the 70s for tomorrow, and it looks like we'll stay in the 70s all weekend long. My full forecast is coming up a bit later on. Caroline?
We'll look forward to hearing that. Thank you very much, Chris.
President Bush tours riot-torn Los Angeles.
Find out why his visit is getting less than rave reviews.
And find out why you might want to send your mom to the doctor for Mother's Day. I'll tell you on the Health Watch.
No, that's okay. Okay, just be real.
You're watching Fox 59 Nightcast with Bob Donaldson, Caroline Thau, Sports with Brian Hammons, and meteorologist Chris Wright.
President Bush condemned Los Angeles violence from the White House.
Today, he took his message to the burned-out streets of that city. Bush toured the wreckage and was briefed on recovery efforts. The president says he was horrified but has confidence in the city.
Los Angeles will recover. I believe that it is well on its way to recovery thanks to what the local government and the state government and this federal presence are doing.
President Bush was not specific about any recovery plan.
The president of LA's Urban League says he's waiting to see what Bush actually does, saying the community can't afford show and tell anymore.
A shooting at a McDonald's in Canada leaves 3 people dead and critically injures a 4th victim. That story tops our World Wrap tonight. Police in a small town in Nova Scotia say they think the motive in the killings was robbery. Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton has denied clemency for a condemned killer scheduled to die tonight by lethal injection. Stephen Douglas Hill was put to death less than an hour ago. Clinton has never granted clemency for a death row inmate.
Well, Mother's Day is just around the corner, and if you need any ideas for gifts, Indiana First Lady Susan Bai says she has a great one. Give your mother a mammogram. You can do so at about half the price of the usual mammogram through the 4th annual Mammogram for Mother's Day program.
What we're doing is trying to encourage family members to contact the American Cancer Society and to get a mammogram for their mother, grandmother, aunt, anybody who's special in their lives, and make sure that they get that mammogram for Mother's Day.
Now here's the number you need to call to get your gift certificate for the mammogram. It's 1-800-ACS-2345. 80 different mammography facilities in Indianapolis will be participating in the Mother's Day program.
Well, speaking of Mother's Day, it could be pretty hot in Indianapolis by Mother's Day.
Meteorologist Chris Wright tells you just how hot when we come back.
And for the second day in a row, the racing stops for a nasty crash at the Speedway. Brian Hammons has updates on both injured drivers.
And this man may be the next Fox heartthrob. But what kind of problems will he have with the girl? Stay with us to find out.
I don't know yet.
Chris Wright's forecast is approved by the American Meteorological Society.
Bad weather and computer problems delay Endeavour, but can't stop it from lifting off. NASA's newest space shuttle was grounded for 34 minutes past its scheduled liftoff time, but the $2 billion shuttle finally made it off the ground. The shuttle's maiden voyage is a 7-day mission to rescue a satellite.
Always amazing to see those pictures. Well, I don't know if you've been outside tonight or not, but if you have, you notice that it's not quite as cold as it has been in previous nights.
Yeah, rather nice out there. We're not going to be dealing with the problems with frost for tonight like we've been for the past couple of nights, and we'll see it warmer for tomorrow with some sunshine. With that warm weather in mind, let's get a check of the sun source scale. The UV rays will be rather strong tomorrow, UV high at 75, And tonight we feature Pam Gregory. She's a newsroom assistant here at Nightcast, and she has medium skin. Sunburn time for Pam is 1 hour and 40 minutes tomorrow. Now, if you have very light skin, about 35 minutes is all you'll be able to take tomorrow without some type of sunscreen. Outside right now, skies are clear. The temperature at 55 degrees, downtown temperature at 59, the high up to 68 today. We'll see it slightly warmer for tomorrow. For tonight's weather, not as cool as last night. The low temperature down at 42 degrees. And in that sunshine tomorrow, we'll see the high temperature up to 72 with a nice wind coming in from the northeast at 10. Clear skies on our satellite photo right now, but clouds and rain down in the southeast. They've had the clouds and rain in the southeast, and very warm, clear air back out over the Central Plains. Pierre, South Dakota, up to 90 degrees today, 83 the high at Denver. Kansas City saw the high temperature at 72. Along with the clouds and rain along the eastern seaboard, temperatures were cooler, 55 the high at Baltimore today. We've been watching this low pressure down off the South Carolina coast, bringing all the rainfall to the southeast. For tomorrow, that low pressure will move a little bit northward, spreading rain along the eastern seaboard once again. We'll stay with mild sunshine here in Indiana with temperatures near the 70-degree mark. Over the weekend, that low-pressure system will still hang around. Now, we'll stay warm over the weekend, high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, but if that low tracks a little farther westward, we could see a few sprinkles around for pole day on Saturday. At this point, only about a 25% chance of rain on Saturday. Pinpointing the situation for tomorrow, clear skies all across the board, a 7 a.m. temperature at 45. When the track opens, the temperature at 64 and 72, the temperature for happy hour with sunshine. Looking ahead to the all-important first weekend of qualifying, we'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine on both Saturday and Sunday with high temperatures in the mid-70s. Again, a slight chance for a sprinkle or two on Saturday, but a better likelihood of rainfall coming up next Tuesday. I'll have the first update on tomorrow morning's weather on the radio, WTPI with Steve Cooper.
Okay, well, we're keeping our fingers crossed for a good weekend.
Yeah, we don't want that rain this weekend. Believe me, everyone has told me at least twice.
That's right.
Thank you, Chris. Well, it may not seem like it in Indianapolis, but there are other things going on.
Well, I don't
the
know.
500.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's thinking about them, but Brian is going to be talking about some other sports. We were out there all day today. It was a nice day for racing.
How'd you like it? Your first trip at the Speedway?
I loved it. It's amazing. For a first-timer, I bet you forget what it was like when you first went out there.
That's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
Hello, everyone. We'll get to racing in just a few moments. Tonight was Game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinal between the Knicks and Bulls. New York started the night with a 1-0 lead in the series, and Phil Jackson desperately needed a win tonight on his home floor because now they're going to New York. John Paxson in the corner gets it to Scottie Pippen, who goes to Michael Jordan, who hits. Bulls up by 5. Then Michael Jordan working John Starks. He hits the turnaround. Chicago wins the game 86-78. That series all tied at 1, as I said, going back to New York. In the first quarter, Portland leading Phoenix 29-14. And as you can see, we're going to talk about the baseball now. The Reds and the Mets squared off in an afternoon encounter at Riverfront Stadium. And this is a pretty good ball game. Watch this defensive play. Top of the 5th, Dick Schofield, fly ball to right field. Dave Magadan is tagging at second base. Now keep in mind, he doesn't run real well. Paul O'Neill throws well. He is out a mile. Reds win today 4-2 over the Mets. San Francisco shut out St. Louis. Atlanta beat Pittsburgh. Chicago, I have no idea what this is. A little baby waving to Dave Magadan at third base. Atlanta beat Pittsburgh 4-2. Chicago beat Houston 9-2. In the American League, Chicago wins, Oakland wins, Minnesota leads Baltimore, Kansas City leads Milwaukee, Cleveland leading Texas, Seattle leading Toronto, California leading New York, and in the American Association, Nashville and the Indians all tied at 2 in the 9th inning. 500 tonight is next on Nightcast. We'll bring you the latest on Nelson Piquet, who was injured in a crash at the Speedway today. Stick around.
We've got the winds of change upon us, from big city to small town too. This is where America's cars start rolling, and no one does it like we do.
Mercury Grand Marquis. Room, comfort, a fuel-efficient V8 engine, vital safety features, and more. It's a great new tradition. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
Mercury.
500 tonight is brought to you by Pizza Hut and by Lincoln Mercury Grand Marquis.
For the second straight day, the high speeds were overshadowed by a terrible crash. Today, it was 3-time Formula One champion Nelson Piquet. It wasn't as spectacular as the Mears crash, but as Kerry Addington reports, the consequences were much worse.
Around 12:30 this afternoon, Gary Bentonhausen was waiting for his turn to find some more speed when a small fire broke out in his engine compartment. Driver and car were undamaged, but it wasn't the best way for Team Menard to start the day. 2 hours later, it would get much worse. Nelson Piquet was not as lucky as Rick Mears. The impact was head-on. Piquet was rushed to Methodist Hospital for emergency surgery. He suffered multiple fractures of both lower legs and feet. He also suffered a concussion. Speculation as to the cause centers around a small piece of aluminum Piquet ran over on the backstretch just prior to the accident. After examining the car, Goodyear spokesman said the tires were not punctured. The USAC technical staff concluded the aluminum piece had no bearing on the accident. The physical and emotional makeup of these drivers is just beyond belief. To witness a situation like the Piquet crash, then to get back in your car and go back out on the track is certainly amazing, especially if you're a teammate or a friend.
Well, it's difficult, you know, but we are professional. We have to do it. We have to separate the emotional part and just go back and do the job we have to do.
That's our job. I guess we have to do it. Like you say, it hasn't been much fun since Nelson got hurt.
Both Fittipaldi and Bentonhausen were back up to speed by late afternoon, pushing to the limit, very close to the wall. From the Speedway, Kerry Addington, Nightcast Sports.
Well, despite sunny and warm conditions at the track, the speeds were still high. Here's a look at the top 5 of the day. And again at the top is Roberto Guerrero in his Lola Buick.
Does it ever get to the point where you say, I'm happy with it, leave it alone, I'll see you Saturday morning?
No, because it happens too many times that when you say that, the next time you bring it out, it's totally useless. I mean, it's really hard to believe that the setup just goes away from you without you doing really anything. So it's you have to really keep up on it all the time.
I'd go 232 like on Monday, then play golf until Saturday. I'd say don't touch it.
Absolutely.
Rick Mears should be back in his car and ready to qualify tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Tomorrow is the last day for drivers to practice at the track before qualifications begin, and with the weather forecast promising to be incredible, you can bet traffic into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway will be heavy. A look at all the activity on the day before the drivers try for the pole position. That's tomorrow on Nightcast.
And there is still more to come tonight on Nightcast.
And he was on 90210 tonight, but where will he be hanging out next fall? Jake's story coming up.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Chris Wright. For the latest weather forecast plus time and the current temperature, call the Fox 59 weather line at 635-5959.
Will a new face on the Fox network share the limelight with Luke Perry and Jason Priestley?
Sure looks that way. The new face belongs to Grant Show, who plays construction worker Jake Hansen. Hansen debuted on 90210 last week and turned Kelly's world upside down.
One of Jake's problems in life is his inability to deal with relationships with women. And this is one of the problems he has with Kelly. There are other, she's 10 years younger than he is. She's rich, he's poor.
Show's address will next season be Melrose Avenue. That's the name of the 90210 spin-off show that will premiere on Fox. It will dramatize issues affecting people in their 20s. A lot of people looking forward to that show.
More heartthrobs. That wraps up this edition of Nightcast. Join Mindy Todd and Adam Shapiro tomorrow at 10.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, everybody.